Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of A Ballin' and Chance. I'm your host, Angela Lewis, and I am here with a very special guest. Pasha Cook is a strategic advisor to high impact individuals. She is a former baller, of course, and an author and has done some dynamic things. Before I hit record, we started deep diving, and I was like, nah, we gotta stop. We gotta wait
Yeah, I guess.
so that we can get into this. So, Posh, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me after a decade.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? And the evolution of that, like still doing some of the same things, but evolving at the same time, especially thinking about that, what's going on in women's sports today. As we are, old school, they would classify us as old school right now. And so much has happened on the you know, uh, in the lane or industry of women's sports. They're finally starting to see our value. We've been seeing it, but other people are starting to see it now and capitalizing on it. So it's going to be a great conversation as seeing the people behind all the hoopla that's going on in the world. So yeah.
Yes, this is going to be phenomenal. You want to stick around for this entire conversation. We're going to talk Houston Comets. We're going to talk women's basketball and the rise of women's sports. We're going to talk about some lies you've been told about what sport really is and what the truth about it is. We're going to talk about transitioning. We're going to talk about friendship and being on purpose and in purpose. And so this conversation is bound to bless your heart, mind, and soul. And let's dive into this. Fasha, right before I hit record, you said something. And I want to start right there. And then we're going to start right there because I want everyone to catch this. You said ultimately the goal is to come as close to your truth as possible. Will you elaborate on that and share a bit about your background and how you've come to know that wisdom?
Yeah, so it started with me being like most of us athletes playing the game since I was around 7, and I hear that so often. Playing the game and identifying with the game. The game for me was a different path because you have these people out there, and you may be one that is about the X's and O's and all of that. Sports, basketball was the thing that saved my life, literally. It gave me something to do by myself. It gave me something to do to build relationship and community. And it kept me in school when I was being bounced around, with the unstable environment growing up. And so it was a lifesaver for me in so many ways. And many people don't know this, but I was a high school dropout. I dropped out in the 11th grade when I lost my eligibility to play because that was the thing keeping me going to all these different schools and being able to show up. It was that motivator. And once that was gone, my identity went with it a few different times. So that was one of the first times. But it was a principal and a coach of a semi-pro team because by this time, I'm telling my age, they had just launched the WNBA. And I played with Kim Perrott. We played at Fundy. Cheryl Swoops played up there. Cynthia Cooper would come up there. I mean, the greats. If you know Houston, you know Fundy, and you know that that is the place where the history of basketball here really lives. So we all know each other from playing just pick up ball. I don't know if they do that anymore, but yeah. And so Kim was actually a mentor of mine, and she pushed me, and I pushed her, and we would go at it. And so I wanted to play in the WNBA. And the coach who was on the team of the semi-pro team was like, "You're 23 years old. You haven't been to college. You still have your eligibility. If I allow you to play here officially, you'll lose that." And I was like, "Okay, I'm trying to ball. That's all I knew." Long story short, I ended up with a scholarship in JUCO in Mississippi. Finished there and went on to play at Memphis and became a first generation college graduate in my family. And it was because of that drive for playing sport and basketball. So sport is so much more than that on the court what we see people scoring, the tough mentality, all these things that yes, sport can deliver, but it also can be a lifeline and a lifesaver for people because it helps you to have a community and have that family. So now that we're talking about the Comets coming back after I have returned
Yeah.
home to Houston. Y'all welcome. But anyway, I'm excited, and The purpose, right? Through that loss of identity, which after many studies and white papers that I read through and things like that, I learned that I was going through identity foreclosure, meaning I was putting my identity into what I did versus who I am, because who I am shows up in everything I do.
Everything.
And so that's been my life's work, to really understand who I am through personal and professional development. And that actually launched my career once I became a presenter for the WNBA in 2014, which came by way of fashion. It's so interesting, this story, and we're not going to go through all of it. But when that happened, and your book Post Moves, I was a part of
Yes.
that anthology. I got this drive to create something that can take very complicated theories and methodologies and turn them into something, simple for athletes to understand. In sport, you have these transferable skills, being able to really identify those things for athletes and say, hey, if you can do this, think about this. And these things transfer over into your life and into your professional life as well. But the thing is, now, this is one thing I know. When we talk about in society and on social media, when they really honing in on something, you got to be careful because they simplify it too often.
Yeah.
Like sport does, you do have these transferable skills, but it depends on who you are. It
Hmm.
really does. We give
Yeah.
sport a lot of credit, and that's how people can go through identity foreclosure, because you're giving sport all of this weight of who
Yeah.
you are. No, who you are you're within the sport, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about
But
that a little bit
yeah.
more. But like that purpose part, I realized that I am a person that can see the gaps. So I work with high impact individuals and helping them to move the needle, not because they don't know where they're going. It's the little nuanced things that sometimes you need somebody else besides you to point these things out, and then to help you strategize and how to move the needle even further, help you get further along in life. And I developed that in college. People would show up to
Yeah.
my dorm just to talk, and I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know you can get paid from your wisdom, going and teach people the wisdom that you have learned, and creating IP and books out of wisdom that you have learned. It's just about how you articulate those things into like a teaching model.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. You have such a rich background. And I think what's wild when you said my life's work. Girl, we talking about life's work now.
Life.
You mentioned 10 years ago when you were part of a Ball and a Chance, and I'm sorry, when you were part of Post Moves,
Mm-hmm.
the Female Athlete's Guide to Dominate Life After College, and then also you were a guest on Athletes as Educators, the podcast I had a decade ago. It's still out. So if you want to hear what Posh was doing a decade ago, check out her episode on athletes as educators, because you've always, as you mentioned, from the time we met, wanted to help and wanting to figure out how can you help other people guide, how you can help guide other people
Yeah.
to win and be successful. And that happened, as you mentioned, part of who you are on the court, but then also who you are in fashion. But you're the same person, you're just in different lanes.
Yes. And that was confusing, because when you are a person, I don't know if people talk about this enough. When you're a person that you can do what you put your mind to, it can become very confusing. And when they say choose one, that's why you have to know who you are. Because as we're talking about brand and brand identity, and people are going out here building a brand off of what they see out there, is it in here? And that's what I mean by purpose and truth. I learned, and it took me many years to understand that living my truth was not going by what the world says or the world's standards of things, right? I was out there with the social media, and when it's not fun anymore, not that your life's work's supposed to be like fun all the time, because you will have moments of being stretched where you have to educate yourself and grow, and you have those growing pains. But I realize when I'm doing it because someone says that's what you need to do, is when I've fallen off. Now, if it
Yeah.
resonates, you got to know yourself well enough to know if Angela says something that resonates, like, that's you got to know how to be able to gauge that. That's like a discerning spirit,
Hmm.
right? But if it's something you saying and it's not making sense, then why am I trying to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. What I hear you saying, Pasha, is your values have to be intact. Your values and principles have to be intact. So I'll give an example. If one of your values is spending time with your family and someone suggests you leave you leave your family to go pursue this thing, pursuing that thing is important, yes, but then there's a gap on this side because this is what fuels my heart and soul. And so how can that person win where they are is a question they get to ask. If you're someone, so want you to talk some about your values. What are the things that you value that let you know that you are in alignment when opportunities come or when you decide, oh, this is what I'm going after?
One of my top values is integrity. It's to move with integrity. My business needs to be built on integrity, so that's a top value. Another one is autonomy. Like being able to, I don't need to be micromanaged. I'm self motivated. I learn hands on. I'm very determined, organized, and do all those things. So autonomy and being able to move about is very important to me because I was formerly a grade school teacher, but I realized that I am better as a teacher of the world in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
because the world is I mean, it's a classroom. So I learn on the go. I learn by being hands on. So those two things, relationships. Now it took me a while to start to value and understand how important relationships are. And so the things that I've learned that I teach, understand that I didn't get them right at first. Like I learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things by being off or missing the mark. And so that's when I understand that I had to value relationships differently, but the right relationships. So I'm not out there trying to pass out a whole bunch of business cards and networking like that. I allow relationships to manifest and to grow and mature
Mm-hmm.
naturally. Because this
Yeah.
world right now, man, is very much you give to me and I give to you. It's very transactional. I don't I don't like operating in transactional relationships. I know that there's a place for them, but I really don't prefer
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
You know, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. You mentioned integrity, doing what you say you're going to do, being honest, all of that. Autonomy, being able to move about. Some people need to know what they have to do, when they have to do it. They want you to check and tell them they're right all the time. And that's okay for those type of people, but you're like, "Nah, I'm going to figure out a way to get it done. I'll get it done." And then also the third piece is having deep, meaningful relationships. Those three are your values
Hmm.
and make a big, big difference.
Yeah.
So when you come to sport and when you approach anything, you approach it with those values and mindset. Before we started recording, in the previous conversation, also we talked about how the blah, 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 blah. We're gonna keep that in because it is early.
Yeah.
So that happens sometimes. We talked about how sometimes we over celebrate the contribution that sport has on our life. Will you talk about where you learn those values, how you learn those values, and then how you apply that to everything that you do? Where they come from, if it didn't come from sport?
Yeah, integrity definitely didn't come from sport. My attitude was so bad. Oh my God. I used to have the worst, especially on the court, because I was so cocky, had this natural talent. So I really never learned very well like the game,
Plays?
like the plays. I was raw talent and made it through college off of raw talent. And that sometimes is a hindrance for us. When you can just, like they said, it's not the person that's the underdog can come back and be the one that does the best versus the most talented player. And so, yeah, I didn't get that from that. It was over time, over just gauging what made me feel fulfilled and who I really was. And I realized I didn't like operating in transactional relationships. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be who I am. I know that I am a servant leader. I've always been a leader since I was a kid. Had to learn a lot early, so I didn't have one of those childhoods. I was an adult child,
Mm-hmm.
and so I realized that I'm a servant leader. My heart's work is to help others move the needle, and I know people say that, but when I go, if I try to go against that, it is painful on the inside for me. I'm
Yeah.
convicted, right?
Yeah.
So that's about understanding who you are. As far as relationships, again, sometimes getting them wrong and realizing that at this point in my life, relationships get you indoors your resume cannot. Let me say that again. Relationships will get you indoors that resumes cannot. People tell you you need a master's degree and a PhD, and if you want all that, that is great. But you can get in the same doors with the right relationships. But
Mm-hmm.
understand that relationships are give and give.
Yeah.
Gives to you, you have to be giving. Because we talk about mentorship, but what value are you bringing to that mentor? It's not just
Mm-hmm.
take, right?
Yeah.
So I learned those things along the way through other people sometimes coming into my life and me seeing the difference in this relationship and this relationship. It's like this one keeps me anxious, or it's a different kind of feeling versus this one that gives me peace, that feeds my soul, that feeds me, that supports me. And so that's what I learned because people don't have to love you.
Ooh,
So check.
amen. Okay, okay, okay. Well, let's talk about love
Okay.
and the love now of women's sports.
Ooh.
It is a whole new world out here for us. I'm in DFW area. The regionals are in Fort Worth. This will go out after that would have happened already
Okay.
when this recording goes out, but it is amazing to see so many people here supporting women's sports who've come from all over to support these teams. So, how are you feeling now that things have shifted from when
It's
you were playing?
it's like a love and excitement for it, but also it's like a little bit of wait a minute. Like, what about us when we were playing, right? Now, I'm really happy for the women. It's about time. Women, and I can only speak from a black woman's perspective. We have done so much and been made to be so. We talked about that when we had our conversation before about being strong. We have been strong. We have been the most educated. We have been a lot of things that we've had to traverse because of how this world is set up for men and to benefit men mostly. That now is the time that we are finally, and it's sports that we're talking about, of course. We are finally getting our just due, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. People are now excited about women's sport. Women been playing great sport. I remember watching Teresa Weatherspoon back in the day, and man, that was my hero. And yeah. I'm not gonna compare the women from then to now because it'd be like Jordan versus Kobe. But
Right,
I'm
right.
telling you, women back then were balling.
Speaking of women back then balling, the Houston Comets are coming back, which is amazing. I
Yes,
mean, I remember watching Tina Thompson, Cheryl Swoop, Cynthia Cooper, Kim Perot, of course, when they won back to back titles. I
it
mean,
was
they
like
were,
3 or 4, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
one of the best storied franchises. And so for Connecticut Sun to be moving back to Houston and launching 2027 season, it's just
we're excited.
Houston is gonna just rock, just rock it.
We're excited. Yeah.
And so
Say
you
how
you were telling me a little bit something before.
Yeah, so I went into this. So I am a very spirit led when I'm in my right mind, because sometimes I be in that other mind. But anyway, um, and I had a friend that I was meeting for coffee, and she likes to shop. So I was like, you know what? We were in the Montrose area, so let's go to a couple of places I think you'll like. And we were in there, and I'm not gonna give it away where I was. I'm a gatekeep. Y'all have to call me for this. And we were in this thrift place. It was a charity. It's I think like Charity Guild. I'm not trying to gatekeep for real. And she was looking at the purse. I'm just walking around, and before we left out, I saw these big glass shelves, and I was like, let's just pass by here. I never buy anything out of the glass case. And I looked and I saw this WNBA ball. And I looked, and the first name I saw on it was Kim Parat. Well, my mentor and friend has been passed away a long time, so I was thinking either this wasn't real or my God. Looked at the ball, and it had $1,200 on the ball. I was like, oh my God. But with these charity places, the longer something's in there, the less expensive it becomes. Like the price goes down. It's a tiered pricing. And it was at, I won't tell you how much, but it was very significantly lower than $1,200. And I got the ball, and something told me just to hang on to it. Didn't know about what was happening. But it's not a lot of things, I believe, with the original Comets team signature on it. So Kim Parat, Cheryl Swoops, uh, Tina Thompson, who else is on there? Cooper's on there. And so it's something that I'm gonna be holding on to. And it's like, man, now that has even more significance for me knowing that they're coming back. Because I left home the year the Comets started. I left, so that began my journey because I wanted to be a part of the WNBA, and my coach friend would not let me play semi-pro officially, and sent me to college. Was the same year that the league started, and then in 2017, I was there at the WNBA draft because I had been doing that work since 2014. Cheryl came, Rebecca Lobo, I think Cynthia, somebody else was there. And the WNBA sent me this commemorative ball that sits on my shelf. And so I got that ball officially, and it has the commemorative date on there for the WNBA. Not them not knowing that that's what started where I am today because I wanted to play ball. I didn't get a chance to do that, injuries and all of that. But these two balls now hold history for me. And this team is returning, and I'll be home now to be able to go to more games. So
Go
it's,
to more games. I mean, first of all, this is incredible. Your
yeah.
story, the full circle moment to going to the charity thrift shop, to seeing Kim's name, to you getting that ball, to speaking at the W and the work you've done. I mean, my first thought was, you're gonna be working with the team. Like you're gonna go.
Love to work with the team. So anybody sees this, yes, I would love to work with the team in, whether it be player development or content, senior director of content, because I've done that globally as well. Like being in
Yeah.
New York gave me so many opportunities to see what was what was inside of me that I didn't know because I went through that identity foreclosure. Didn't know I was talented at directing and building team and managing teams, and brand activation. So I've been doing those things along with the advising for many years.
Tell us about some of the work you've done because I could
Okay.
absolutely see you working with the Rockets in either of these, with the Rockets, with the Comets in either
Yeah.
of these capacities.
Well, one was going abroad. I worked with Sonny Weems, Tawana Smith, the ones who have the Athletes Abroad Summit. They hired me in for social media, and I immediately was able to see, well, he's overseas, well, 9 to 10 months and not really here. We need to be capturing content there. And they sent me over there. Well, long story short, we were able to capture content in one of his first championships in that CBA league that she had been playing for many years overseas. Then we shot another docu series, and I built that team to start that process. Then they added to the team, placed some more people on the team. We did some more content where we interviewed Ariel Powers, who's
Hmm.
now part of Players TV, and some other athletes. And so that was amazing that God gave me the opportunity to be in China, building teams, directing content, building the project out. I've worked with founders coming out of Fortune 500 companies who are transitioning into their own consultancy, helping them to, strategize and understand and build their brands out. I work with founders, and recently I've been to Martha's Vineyard in an activation. I've been to Art Basel with activations. We're looking right now at the Hamptons for some things. So I'm a strategic advisor for this person, but I'm also the person that helps to guide the content and the storyline, because I love to produce content that's more like documentary in real life to bring people in where you feel like you're there. And so that's just some of the work I've done. And then also with collegiate sports, as you already know, and helping them with that leadership with the Champs U programming that I built out, helping them with leadership, career development, and just understanding who they are. We teach them growth and fixed mindset, all those things I've been doing for over a decade.
Yes, yes, you have. You are dynamic, absolutely dynamic.
Thank
And it takes a certain type of skill to be able to say, here's the end project, right? But what are all of the pieces that need to come together? Like, there's, we can talk about the vision as much as we want, but if you don't know how to get there, if you don't know what teammates are needed or what pieces of the puzzle, or like you mentioned, can't see the gaps, then you don't get there. Or you're inefficient and you end up wasting a lot of time and
And you're
money.
scattered. But I learned from being scattered to know how to do this. So people may not understand that when you see a CEO of the company, he isn't doing all these nuanced things. He has advisors, he has other people that he delegate. So I know and understand if you're here and we're trying to go here, that's reverse engineered, and I will see, okay, these are the things progressively and people that need to be added in order for you to move this needle.
Yeah, that's
Do
such an
that.
important,
Yeah.
such an important role.
Yeah,
Really,
I
really
love
important.
it too. I've been, the thing is, that's the thing I'm trying to say to people. You don't even know these things are in you sometimes.
Hmm.
Only identify with this thing that you're doing right now. It's a disadvantage to think that this is all of who you are. Because that's what I thought. Basketball, I didn't know about how my grades were going to be. I still kept over a 3.0 average, but I hadn't been in school in 6 years. So I
It's
had no
amazing.
idea.
Your story alone is amazing. Like,
Thank you.
I know, I know that there are, for whatever reason, people stop playing sport in high school, right? Maybe it's like you said, I was in algebra, so I was like, I ain't going, right? Or, but the fact that you went back and played is huge. Like, there's
That's
no
weird, huh?
further
Not weird, but it's just
rare. It's
I'm
rare.
really blessed. God has been covering me so much over my life. As long as I keep, putting in the effort, things tend to open up. But I had no idea that that was a
Even a possibility.
yeah.
Because
And
once you at Memphis, that's huge.
then-
Huge. So if there are young women out there who catch wind of this podcast and they have maybe stopped playing and they still love the game and they have eligibility, they don't know if they have eligibility, what's your advice?
Man, do your research. Get yourself in shape, because I had always been in shape, and go for it if it's a possibility, because you never know. For me to end up at Memphis was I knew people on the team that I was playing ball with back in the gym. So little nuanced things that you may not value or think have value, they really matter, right? Those relationships were what helped to get me to Memphis. I was like, I want to go play with people I'm used to playing with. Now, I didn't play a lot at Memphis. Let me tell you that, because my attitude was bad, and me and the coach, I love her though. God rest her soul. But what I was willing to see later is that she gave me a chance, an opportunity to change my life. I was the first one to graduate from college and I had never considered college if it wasn't for basketball. And that took me on this journey that I'm on now. And the lives, when you impact other people's lives, when you see the light bulbs go off, or you have a student that meets you after a presentation and pours out to you, or they follow back up with you and you inspire them, that is my heart's work, to keep seeing those light bulbs go off for people, and to keep having these conversations that can inspire others beyond the limitations that we set on ourselves. We
Yeah.
set them most of the time on ourselves, yes.
You made me think of this quote by, my God, my brain is, hold on, give me a second.
It's early. My brain been doing that too.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. We gonna keep this. We gonna keep this. Oh my God, I can't remember. I am so upset at myself because I literally just saw her name and then it went away. And she's super famous and very powerful. But essentially, she said that your purpose isn't what you do. Your purpose is what happens to people when you do what you do.
That
I was
impact.
like, that sounds like what you're saying.
Yes, I
Exactly
teach
like
from that.
what you're saying.
I teach from that when I teach legacy leadership. And to me, legacy isn't your name on the building or, these things that happen after you have left this earth. Legacy is built one day at a time, one brick at a time, and who you impact on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Because you impress upon people with who you are when you show up and how you show up. And
Yes.
again, some of this I learned from being the opposite at times, having a good heart, but like now it is, I live and breathe it. It's not something I try to do. I show up as who I am and let God's light shine. Okay?
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, Posh, I have always enjoyed our conversations from the first one we had a decade ago to the recent one on your conversations. It's not a podcast, it's the conversations that we've had recently. And I'm so grateful that we've reconnected and excited to see all that is to come.
Absolutely.
If people need, is there any last piece of wisdom before we wrap that you want people to know about your journey or about moving forward, the transitioning?
Well, a couple of things is we do not walk this life to be alone. So surround yourself with the right people. And the right people, you have to gauge it for yourself. But for me, there are people that support me, people that are willing to tell me the truth with love, not
Mm,
with condemnation, condemning me. People who see in you, because you can't always see the picture when you're in the frame. You need to be able to have people that can see things in you that you may not can see yourself. Yeah, we are strong, resilient, self motivated, but still, you still need other people who can pour into you. And so that's one. Two is failure isn't a failure until you quit, right? And letting something go, releasing something isn't quitting. If you know it's not right for you, to release it so that you can align with your truth, release it. So that's not quitting. Quitting is quitting on yourself, thinking that you have nothing to offer this world when you do. And sometimes those things come so easily, like breathing, like they did for me, that I wasn't able to ever identify them at first. But the more I started to do those things and started to listen to the atmosphere and what people came to me for, it started to help me hone in on to the things into the things that I know that I do well, and that is seeing the blind spots, giving people strategies, helping them move the needle, and impressing upon them and seeing in them the potential that they may not see themselves because someone saw it in me. So this is my life's work and my heart's work, and I plan to be here impacting generations and people for a very long time, even after I'm gone, because it's about how I impress upon people on a daily basis. So you can do that.
I love it. I love it. And you're doing it. Like you are living it and walking the walk. And so thank you for all that you are and all the ways that you show up and all that you've given so much to the game and to people beyond sport because it's so much bigger
It
than
is.
sport. Sport gave us the chance, but the chance to really create an impact globally. And you're doing that. And so I'm so grateful for your friendship and reconnecting.
Same.
If people want to reach out to you and work with you, how can they find you?
You can Google me, but Pasha Cook, PASHACOOK. That's also my website, pashacook.com. LinkedIn, of course, Pasha Cook. And then you can email me at info@pashacook.com. So fairly easy.
Yes. And your name is so distinctive. So distinctive. So you are the Pasha Cook.
The Pasha Cook. Do you know what Pasha means?
No.
I had to look it up when I was younger because I didn't like my name when I was younger. It actually is now in Egypt. When I went to Egypt, a term of endearment with men because it was a male's name. And they say Pasha, 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 like brother. But originally it was the Ottoman Empire had levels of Pasha, and the top Pasha would be the like a chief of staff, like I've been to people for the
Hmm.
king, right? They were generals and warriors and lords
Wow.
in the Ottoman Empire, which is the biggest empire to ever exist on this earth. My mom had no idea.
That makes sense. And you have the right name. Wow, that's amazing. The power of names.
The power of name, dude. Everything has a spirit, some spiritual attached to it. We're not gonna go into that, but I'm telling you, do not despise your humble or small beginnings. Like everything matters. Every little nuance of your life really matters. You just gotta be able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you slow down enough,
that
you'll be
part.
able to see how it's all connected, and it's miraculous.
That's a second conversation. The
It is.
slowing down to speed up.
That's a whole, yes.
Okay, we gonna stop. We gonna stop. We gonna.
Thank you all so much for listening in and tuning in to another episode of A Ball and a Chance. We are so grateful that you joined us today. I will have all of Pasha's contact info in the show notes. And as always, you can reach me at angelarlewis.com and look forward to more conversations. Thanks, Pash.
Thank you so much. Thank you.